Okay, for this last demo before release, I wanted to just talk about the future of this framework for like 2 minutes. Um, Really, it's organic, right? We'll just see how it goes. We'll see how people react to this and if they like it and if they want to bother. I suspect most of you guys there are, semi-experts or experts with your own code and you're busy, and last thing you can have time for is just to go stop and wade into somebody else's creation and beat it into a shape that, or learn it enough to use it so that it's useful to you. So it's kind of sad in a way, right? Because what's the point? But you never know. So I just had a great time making it. It honestly doesn't matter if anybody appreciates it or uses it or not. I thought it was really a lot of fun. It was just pure creativity for me, which is vastly more joyful than work I do for others. I like working for others. I love service, but pure creative impulses is even more fun. So no harm done if no one wants to use it. But for you middle or lower skilled people that don't have a big framework, a big library of your own stuff already built up, you might as well start with this. I haven't seen anything else offered to the community that really provides this kind of basic functionality that's easy to build upon. So for anyone that wants to develop this for yourself or for the community, we should talk. It's going to be a while until I get some time to get back to this. I've got a bunch of clients' work that's backed up waiting for me, and I just took more than a week out to create this just because I couldn't resist. But when I do get back to this, meanwhile, you could be working on it. And there's a few things. First of all, I just would like to mention some of the features I think we need to add. I mentioned the shopping cart utilities, which of course we're going to need. We also need a good CMS, right, for site administrators to use to update their content. We need a good module for controlling sessions, authentication, log in, log out, different gradations of access. We need some more security stuff. Right away, something comes to mind, which I've seen called cross-site request forgery prevention, which to me means in a form, like in our demo Z's sample. This one. Anybody, a bot, an angry person, anyone can come in here and submit this. Well, if it's a bot, then usually they just figure out my understanding is they just figure out the landing page and try to submit right to the landing page. And so to prevent that, you just stick in a hidden input in your form that's loaded with, say, a cart number or some unique string. And you load that in the hidden input when they first get into this form. And you also, when they first come in here like that, and they also load that same cart or unique string in a cookie. And then on the submission page, on the landing page, you check, hey, you sniff and detect that cookie. Is that cookie value the same as what the hidden input just passed? And if not, you reject the submission. And that's a long-winded way of saying this, as far as I know. But anyway, we need that kind of thing for sure. And there's other security stuff I'm guessing we're also going to want to drop in here. For those of us who do feel like working on this, if there is anybody, then it'd be great to set up, for example, a Git repository, and we could all check it out, branch it. I forget the technical words. Submit our work back to the repo. Merge, collaborate, blah blah blah, etc. So I think I'd be willing to set that up at some point. Like I said, not for a while. I got a lot of work backed up. But when I get back to this, I can set that up. Meanwhile, if someone else is fired up, by all means, help yourself. If you want to work on this for yourself or for the community and you don't have the skill set or the desire to really set up a proper collaboration environment for everybody, then I would say avoid hacking the system files. And in other words, the stuff in this, here's your framework folder, the system folder. Avoid hacking these things if possible. And just hack your utilities, which you can stick in application utils. You can make utilities all day long and there's no harm done because they're just loaded as needed. People load them when and where they want them. And that way you could expand the functionality of this framework and then share utilities, so effectively, helping everyone without messing up the system until you're ready to do so. And I'd say let's wait and do the system when those who are really serious about it, or at least have the skill set to set up a safety environment, like a good collaboration environment. Very last point, it's sort of boring, mundane, small thing, but probably important. You remember in the debug demo where, it's so late I'm foggy. We turned on debugging. I'm going to turn it all on. Local site. Why isn't it? Because it wasn't even the demo Z site. Here's the demo Z site. Here's the config. Now once debug is turned on totally, now we should see. There it is. Okay. You turn on debugging and you can see all the variables that I'm using internally to make this framework go. And at some point I wised up. Sorry I didn't think of it sooner. I apologize. But at some point I started using WSC underscore prefix before all of my variable names. So you can tell this is a variable that's internal to the WebDNACodeSparker engine. But before I realized I was going to need to do that, or I would want to do that, I was just using variables, as per my own brain, naming them things like num_url segments. And so this is the last point I want to make on this future of WebDNACodeSparker demo video, that we need to avoid naming collisions, variable naming collisions. Like when you're working on your own stuff, your own application, your own website, you're going to name variables as you do, whatever you want, right? Well, there's a good chance that sometimes you're going to name something that's already been named. So until one of us gets the time to go back in and alter all of the internal WCS variables to have this prefix, then you're going to have to load your debug data and scan this list every time there's a question whether or not you might be loading a variable that's already being used, so there's no collisions. I don't understand why this is here. There should be no variable named if. I don't think there is. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, so just bear in mind, naming collisions are possible. Check this list to see. WCS underscore is definitely reserved for the framework. At some point, all these variables will be named with that prefix. That should be it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.